End Is Nigh is a hard-as-nails platforming adventure developed by Super Meat Boy creator Edmund McMillen and Newgrounds enthusiast Tyler Glaiel. The game was released for PC back in 2017 and has since made its way to the consoles, including the Nintendo Switch. With the wonderful Celeste seeming to have brought an end to the Cuphead is too hard controversy, let's take a closer look at the End Is Nigh port and see if it's in fact worth adding to your collection.
Okay, we're going to load up one of my favorite games here. Here we have The End Is Nigh. It's a classic, old-school platforming game, and, it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite games. All right, you see here, you got your classic controls, you got your jump.
The story follows Ash, a foul-mouthed, live-streaming blob whom after his favorite game crashes must venture out into what remains of the world in hopes of finding a friend. Outside of its brief and surprisingly meta intro, the story didn't really surface too much throughout the campaign, and while not necessarily crucial for a title like this, having enjoyed the outstanding narrative of this year's Celeste left me sort of feeling like the developers had missed an opportunity to say something. So in short, a narrative technically exists. But with that being said, it played out more like a joke in the beginning to simply slap the M rating on the game and didn't really do anything in regards to driving its protagonist forward throughout the 8-hour campaign.
Okay. Oh no, it's still not working. Oh fuck! Fuck, what am I gonna do? Fuck!
The world consists of 600 screens for Ash to navigate through. The first few are relatively easy, teaching the player the mechanics of the game, as well as shedding light on the fact that he or she is going to be dying. A lot. Luckily, respawning is instant, so the player isn't really given enough time to dwell on their failures, but rather is urged to jump right back into the grind to perfect their execution of each screen. Most of these 600 screens not only present a difficult passage, but also have floating collectibles in the form of tumors for Ash to collect, making things seem even more impossible. The title has been described as very difficult, and for some good reasons. Some of the later screens had me spending well over an hour trying to master their approximate 10-second completion times. Despite its difficulty though, the gameplay is absolutely where The End Is Nigh excels the most. Every mechanic has been fine-tuned to the point of perfection, making every one of my over 5,000 deaths feel self-inflicted. The game, like a frustrating math problem, can at times be overwhelming. But when Ash is able to clear a particularly dreadful screen, the sense of accomplishment that came with it was so tremendous.
I wanted to save Gotham. I failed.
Why do we force? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
There are also many hidden areas Ash can traverse to if the player is willing to put in the time to experiment with the diabolical terrain of each screen. Much more brutal than even the hardest levels of Celeste, The End Is Nigh is not for the faint of heart, and is easily one of the more difficult games I've ever played. But with that brutal grind came such satisfying moments paid in full. Overall, the gameplay was excellent. From the somber piano tracks laced throughout the rainy opening sequences to the battle cries of a guitar in the later game, the music was mostly great, providing a sense of epicness in navigating Ash throughout the levels. The environmental work, while limited perhaps to just a few things on any given screen, was all well done and usually meshed well with the soundtrack to provide a nice, clean package. A minor nitpick would be that the soundtrack is sort of all over the place. I would have liked to see the composer Ridiculon be more sure as to the mood they wanted for the overall experience. Don't get me wrong, everything sounds fine, but just because the soundtrack is as scrambled as it is, perhaps they weren't able to focus on any given tone, which left me sort of feeling like I was missing out on being wowed by the score and instead just hearing a variety of fine-sounding songs. Overall, the sound design is good, but sadly, nothing really that special.
Whereas I'm thinking that it should be more sort of... Whereas, like I say, at the moment, it is more kind of... Which it doesn't have to be.
In conclusion, The End Is Nigh absolutely is not a game for everyone, but more so just for those looking for about as brutal of a challenge imaginable. While perhaps uninspired in the ways of narrative being told or music, the game plays wonderfully in both handheld and docked modes, and is sure to provide many brilliant rushes of serotonin for those willing to take the beating. I absolutely recommend the title to anyone fond of difficult platformers. I just wouldn't expect too much more out of the experience. The End Is Nigh is available on the Nintendo eShop for $14.99 and will take up a mere quarter gigabyte of storage on your Switch. As always, thank you so much for watching the video. If you'd like to see more like it, go ahead and click that subscribe button.